The gavel struck like thunder, and Judge Richard Hayes said, "This court finds the accused guilty." The room erupted in gasps, and the echo seemed to pierce every soul present. The guarded survivor Anna Carter felt her chest tighten as the walls seemed to close in. She thought, how can this be justice if the truth is still buried? The warm comforter Michael Lewis placed a hand on her shoulder and said, "Stay steady, Anna, we will endure this storm." Yet his words carried a weight of something unsaid, lingering in the air like smoke. The reluctant fire starter, Lily Evans, leaned forward sharply and whispered, "They don't know everything, and if they did, this trial would burn differently." Her restless energy unsettled Anna, who gripped the edge of the bench. Across the courtroom, the steady anchor, Daniel Brooks, stood silent, his face expressionless, but his eyes hid a shadow of secrets. At the far end, the velvet blade Victoria Price watched with composed poise, her lips curving into the faintest trace of a smile, as though control was hers alone. The presence of the lingering memory, Samuel Carter, seemed to haunt the corners, a scent, a whisper, a silent ghost, pressing against the moment. The verdict was final. But the truth had only begun to stir, heavier and sharper than any judgment passed in that room. The echo of the gavel lingered long after silence returned. Anna Carter pressed her palm against her temple, whispering, "It cannot end like this." Michael Lewis leaned closer, his voice low. "We will find another way, Anna." Lily Evans scoffed and said, "Another way? Truth is not found in locked drawers or forgotten files." Daniel Brooks cleared his throat, his words carefully chosen. "Sometimes justice bends before it breaks." Victoria Price remained seated, her cold eyes scanning the room with unspoken satisfaction. Yet in the air, Samuel Carter's memory felt alive, like a melody faintly remembered but never played. The courtroom emptied, but the weight of hidden truth clung to every step, binding them to something greater than the verdict itself. As the doors creaked open, Anna Carter walked unsteadily, her voice breaking. He never had the chance to speak for himself. Michael Lewis caught her arm, steadying her pace, and whispered, "Hold your strength, or they will take more from you." Lily Evans darted ahead, glancing back sharply. "You want strength? Then let me show you what they never allowed into light." Daniel Brooks adjusted his tie, his tone calm yet firm. "Do not make reckless choices now, not with so much at stake." Victoria Price followed them with deliberate grace, her heels echoing with finality. The haunting trace of Samuel Carter lingered, as though leading them down the corridor into truth they were not ready to bear. The group gathered in the shadowed hallway, whispers colliding like sparks. Anna Carter spoke with trembling anger. They silenced him before the truth was told. Lily Evans replied fiercely, "Then we unsilence him, whether they want it or not." Michael Lewis sighed heavily, brushing a hand through his hair. "But truth without proof will destroy you faster than lies." Daniel Brooks raised his eyes steadily. "Sometimes lies protect what proof cannot." Victoria Price finally interjected, her voice sharp and calm. "Truth is a weapon, and you should ask yourselves if you're prepared to bleed for it." In the stillness, Samuel Carter's unseen presence pressed against them, a memory whispering, pushing them deeper into conflict. The courthouse doors opened to the night, rain dripping onto stone steps. Anna Carter paused, whispering, "I can feel him still here." Michael Lewis pulled his coat tighter and said, "The dead leave shadows, Anna, but shadows are not answers." Lily Evans spat bitterly. "Shadows hold more truth than their polished words inside." Daniel Brooks shielded his face from rain, his tone flat. "If you chase shadows, you will lose yourself." Victoria Price stood tall beneath her umbrella, her voice cutting through the storm. "Some truths are meant to stay buried." And yet, the faintest scent of Samuel Carter lingered in the rain, his memory pressing against them with a force that no storm could wash away. Anna Carter sat at the edge of her dimly lit apartment, the silence pressing heavy. She whispered, "Every time I close my eyes, I see him standing there." Michael Lewis entered quietly, his voice steady. "You survived, Anna, but surviving is not the same as living." Her hand trembled as she traced a sealed envelope on the table, the letter she never dared to open. Lily Evans appeared in the doorway, sharp words on her lips. You keep clinging to silence when the truth is right in front of you. Anna clenched the envelope, her voice breaking. The truth shattered us once. I don't know if I can bear it again. Daniel Brooks leaned against the wall, calm but heavy. Avoidance does not heal, it only delays the inevitable. Victoria Price's arrival was poised and cold, her tone deliberate. Sometimes people die because others guard their secrets too closely. And in the background, Samuel Carter's memory lingered in the faint sound of humming, reminding Anna of the brother she could never forget. The rain outside tapped against the glass as Michael Lewis placed 2 cups of untouched coffee on the table. He said softly, "You cannot keep running from the memory of Samuel." Anna Carter shook her head, whispering, "The memory is all I have left. The truth will take even that away." Lily Evans scowled, throwing her sketchbook onto the table. "Stop protecting lies that broke us in the first place." Daniel Brooks shifted his gaze toward her sharply. "Recklessness will unravel everything we are trying to preserve." Anna pressed her palm to the table, tears threatening. What is left to preserve if he is gone? Victoria Price adjusted her coat with elegance, her voice sharp. Perhaps it is not about what is gone, but about what can be controlled. Samuel Carter's faint laughter seemed to echo for a fleeting second, as though he were present in the cracks of their despair. The hallway echoed with tension as Lily Evans stormed ahead, her voice cutting through. "If no one else dares, then I will show the truth." Anna Carter rushed after her, pleading, "Lily, stop, you don't know what dangers lie ahead." Michael Lewis reached out, trying to steady them both. "Anger cannot guide us, or we will lose ourselves before we begin." Daniel Brooks walked behind, his tone low and calculating. "Sometimes anger is useful if it can be directed." Victoria Price's eyes followed like a hawk, her voice smooth. "Children with fire in their hands burn more than just paper." Anna froze at the sound of Samuel Carter's favorite song playing faintly from nowhere, whispering, "He is leading us somewhere." The air grew colder as memories intertwined with their fragile steps. They gathered in Anna Carter's living room, the storm outside flashing against the window. Anna held Samuel Carter's photo tightly, whispering, "He deserved better than silence." Michael Lewis leaned forward with measured tone. "Justice requires patience, not desperation." Lily Evans snapped, her hands gripping her knees. "Patience killed him once already." Daniel Brooks rubbed his jaw, eyes steady. "Accusations without proof will destroy more lives." Victoria Price spoke with a coolness that froze the room. "Truth is a dangerous gift. Most cannot carry it without bleeding." Anna felt her chest tighten, tears streaking as she muttered, "If bleeding is the price, then let it cut me." In that moment, Samuel Carter's presence felt near, as though the storm itself carried his restless memory. The night stretched longer than their words, but silence was no refuge. Anna Carter stood at the window whispering, "I cannot escape him, even in shadows." Michael Lewis approached, his voice soft. "Sometimes shadows are the only place truth survives." Lily Evans threw her arms wide, her tone fierce. "Then we drag it out into light, no matter what it burns." Daniel Brooks exhaled slowly, his voice carrying both weariness and warning. "If you burn too brightly, the flame will consume you first." Victoria Price rose to her feet, her elegance unbroken, and said, "Perhaps that is what justice looks like, destruction before peace." A sudden gust rattled the window, and the faint outline of Samuel Carter shimmered in the reflection, leaving them suspended between memory and truth, bound to a painful path that could not be turned back. The courthouse archives smelled of dust and forgotten truths. Anna Carter pulled open a drawer of yellowed files, whispering, "If there is proof, it must be hidden here." Michael Lewis stood beside her, his voice calm. "Evidence is fragile, Anna, and easily buried by power." Lily Evans leaned over impatiently, muttering, "Or destroyed, just like they tried to destroy us." Daniel Brooks adjusted the flickering lamp, his tone low. "We tread dangerous ground, searching where others want silence." Victoria Price entered the archive with deliberate steps, her voice composed. "You should ask yourselves who placed these files here, and why." Anna clutched a document tightly, her breath sharp as the name of Samuel Carter surfaced on the page. The room felt colder, as if Samuel himself lingered, pressing them to look deeper, though each discovery pushed them closer to peril. The storm outside rattled the old windows as Anna Carter spread the files across the table. She whispered. He was silenced, and this is why. Michael Lewis placed his hand gently on her wrist, murmuring, "Truth hidden this long will cut deeper than you expect." Lily Evans slammed her fist onto the papers, shouting, "Then let it cut. We are already bleeding." Daniel Brooks exhaled slowly, his voice heavy. "Bleeding does not bring justice, it only leaves scars." Victoria Price leaned against the wall with her poised grace, her words chilling. "Scars are what make people remember, and that is power." The documents blurred in Anna's vision, as Samuel Carter's handwriting appeared before her eyes, pulling her back into the weight of memories that never left. Morning came heavy with dread as they returned to the courthouse, only to find the archive drawer empty. Anna Carter gasped. "The files. Someone has taken them." Michael Lewis tightened his jaw, his voice grave. "This is no accident. Someone is 2 steps ahead." Lily Evans' voice cut through sharply. "Then they are scared of what we could find." Daniel Brooks turned away, his tone flat. "Scared or protecting something larger than we know." Victoria Price descended the staircase with her usual grace, her words laced with control. "Files vanish because they were never meant for you to see." Anna's hands shook as the loss of evidence weighed heavy, while Samuel Carter's ghostly presence seemed to hover, as if warning that truth was slipping further from reach. Tension erupted in the courthouse corridor as their trust began to fracture. Anna Carter's voice trembled with anger. "Someone among us wants the truth buried." Lily Evans snapped, glaring at Daniel Brooks. "He hides too much. Maybe he is the reason files are gone." Daniel Brooks' voice stayed steady though his eyes narrowed. "Suspicion is poison, and poison will ruin all of us." Michael Lewis stepped between them, his tone firm. "This is not the time to turn against one another." Victoria Price folded her arms, her voice sharp. "Perhaps it is exactly the time, because betrayal festers in silence." The group stood in silence, each drowning in suspicion, while Samuel Carter's ghostly shadow flickered across the wall, as if feeding on their unraveling trust. Night fell heavy as Anna Carter sat alone, clutching a photograph of Samuel Carter. She whispered, "They want him erased, but I will not let it happen." Michael Lewis entered quietly, his tone low. "Your strength is his legacy, but you cannot carry this alone." Lily Evans burst into the room, defiant. "Then let me carry it with you, Anna, even if it burns us both." Daniel Brooks followed slowly, his face unreadable. "Be careful what you ask for. Truth has teeth." Victoria Price appeared last, her calm voice slicing the silence. "And those teeth will tear more than you imagine." Anna's tears glistened under the dim light as Samuel's ghostly image shimmered beside her, reminding them all that the truth was close, yet dangerous enough to destroy them. The courthouse basement smelled of mildew and secrets as Anna Carter unfolded a hidden record. Her voice cracked. "This proves Samuel was never meant to testify." Michael Lewis' expression hardened. Someone erased his voice before he ever spoke. Lily Evans' fists clenched, her sharp tone breaking the silence. Then this whole trial was built on lies. Daniel Brooks shifted uneasily, his words measured. "Sometimes lies are what hold broken systems together." Victoria Price stepped forward slowly, her voice calm but slicing. Samuel Carter knew something that would have shattered everything. Anna's breath quickened as her eyes scanned the page, the truth more poisonous than she imagined. The memory of Samuel's faint humming echoed against the stone walls, pressing her to accept that the hidden record was more than evidence. It was betrayal written in. As the storm raged above, Anna Carter slammed the record onto the table, her voice trembling. He was silenced because of this. Michael Lewis leaned in, whispering gravely. Samuel Carter uncovered something that threatened powerful hands. Lily Evans' eyes widened as she exclaimed, "So he was never just a victim. He was the reason everything unraveled." Daniel Brooks' tone darkened. "This revelation could destroy more than you intend." Victoria Price smirked faintly, her words chilling. Truth has always been a luxury, not a right. Anna clutched Samuel's photo tightly, her voice breaking. Then this luxury cost him his life. The rain's rhythm against the window felt like Samuel's restless knocks from beyond, demanding they face a revelation that could not be buried again. The night deepened as Anna Carter confronted Daniel Brooks, her voice sharp. "You knew about this, didn't you?" Daniel's jaw tightened, his tone firm. "I knew only enough to protect what little stability we had." Lily Evans snapped, her words cutting. "You let him die because you chose silence." Michael Lewis stepped forward, calm yet unyielding. "Choosing silence is the same as choosing guilt." Victoria Price's voice sliced through like a blade. "Guilt is irrelevant. Survival is all that ever mattered." Anna's tears fell freely as she whispered. Then Samuel Carter's death was not a tragedy. It was a choice made by those who feared his truth. The flicker of Samuel's presence swirled in the room, as if affirming her words, the betrayal now too heavy to ignore. The silence grew unbearable until Victoria Price spoke, her calm voice dripping with menace. Samuel Carter discovered that those closest to him were part of the deception. Anna Carter gasped, her voice breaking. "Are you saying this betrayal came from within?" Michael Lewis' steady voice trembled. "If that is true, then no one here is without blame." Lily Evans' face burned with fury. "You twist words like knives, but you will not twist this truth." Daniel Brooks lowered his head, his voice low. "The truth is, sometimes protecting one life requires sacrificing another." Anna shook her head violently, whispering, "No sacrifice justifies betrayal." Samuel's ghostly image flickered near Victoria, as if confirming her control over memories long corrupted by silence and fear. Anna Carter collapsed against the bench, her voice broken. "He died because of those he trusted most." Michael Lewis crouched beside her, his tone heavy. "Samuel Carter carried a burden that should have been ours too." Lily Evans' voice cracked. "We let him fight alone, and we let him be silenced." Daniel Brooks leaned against the wall, his words hollow. Maybe silence was the only way to keep balance. Victoria Price stepped closer, her tone chilling. "Balance is an illusion. Control is what shapes justice." Anna pressed Samuel's photograph to her chest, her voice trembling. "Then justice will never belong to those who fear the truth." The ghost of Samuel flickered brighter than before, reminding them that his presence was no longer memory. It was the weight of unfinished truth demanding to be heard. The courtroom felt colder than ever as Anna Carter stood before Victoria Price, her trembling voice steadying with rage. "You controlled everything, even Samuel's silence." Victoria Price's eyes narrowed, her calm voice slicing. "Control is survival, and Samuel Carter knew too much." Michael Lewis stepped forward, his tone sharp. "Truth buried under fear is not justice." Lily Evans shouted, her voice shaking with fury. "You let him die because you wanted to keep your hands clean." Daniel Brooks spoke heavily. "Sometimes silence is chosen because truth destroys more than it heals." Anna's chest heaved as she raised the hidden record high, her voice breaking. "Then let it destroy me, because I will not live in your silence." Samuel's ghostly presence shimmered in the gallery, his unseen voice urging them toward the breaking point, where justice would either rise or collapse. The silence shattered as Daniel Brooks confessed, his voice low but unflinching. "I was told to keep Samuel Carter quiet, for the greater good." Anna Carter gasped, her voice trembling. "You betrayed him, Daniel." Michael Lewis' jaw tightened, his words heavy. "Greater good built on betrayal is nothing but rot." Lily Evans stormed forward, pointing at him. "You chose power over family, and you call that protection?" Daniel Brooks' eyes darkened. "I chose survival in a world where truth kills faster than lies." Victoria Price smirked faintly, her voice calm. "Even now, you cannot see that justice is only another word for control." Anna's tears streaked down her face as she whispered, "Then justice must be reclaimed, no matter how much it hurts." The ghost of Samuel lingered, his silent presence demanding retribution. Anna Carter collapsed against the bench, sobbing. "He trusted you, and you let him die." Daniel Brooks' voice cracked for the first time. "I thought I was saving more lives by letting one fall." Michael Lewis stepped closer, his tone sharp. "You sacrificed truth, and in doing so, You sacrificed justice. Lily Evans' voice trembled, her anger breaking into grief. He was all I had left, and you turned him into a memory. Victoria Price folded her arms, her tone merciless. Memories are easier to control than living voices. Anna's hand clutched Samuel Carter's photograph against her chest as she whispered, "Then his memory will be the one thing you cannot control." Samuel's ghostly form flickered near her, stronger than before, as if feeding on the pain now revealed. The confrontation reached its height as Anna Carter stood tall, her tears drying into fury. She shouted, "You will not erase him again." Michael Lewis' voice rang out, firm and resolute. The truth must be spoken, no matter the cost. Lily Evans stepped beside Anna, her fiery tone cutting. "We burn together if we must, but we burn for him." Daniel Brooks slumped back, defeated, whispering, "The weight of my silence will haunt me forever." Victoria Price's expression hardened, her cold voice echoing, "You believe justice is yours, but justice belongs to those who hold power." Anna's hand slammed the record on the judge's desk, her voice shaking with resolve. "Then I will tear power away with Samuel Carter's truth." The ghost of Samuel shimmered brighter, his presence undeniable as the storm raged outside. The room vibrated with storm and silence as the final words fell. Anna Carter's voice cracked yet strong. "Samuel Carter's truth will not die again." Michael Lewis stood firm, saying, "His voice is alive in yours, and that is justice." Lily Evans wiped her tears, whispering, "He will not be forgotten, not while I breathe." Daniel Brooks lowered his head, murmuring, "The truth I hid will forever stain me." Victoria Price stared coldly, her voice like steel. "You think you've won, but justice twists itself to those who control it." Anna pressed Samuel's photograph against her chest, whispering, "Then let it twist. But his truth will live beyond your power." The ghost of Samuel shimmered so vividly that for a fleeting second he seemed alive again, standing among them, before fading into silence. The storm faded into a heavy dawn as Anna Carter sat on the courthouse steps, her voice fragile. "Samuel Carter's truth has broken me, yet it holds me together." Michael Lewis placed his hand on her shoulder, saying softly, "Justice is rarely clean, Anna, but you carried it when no one else would." Lily Evans sat a few steps lower, her voice raw. "I wanted fire, but fire only left ashes." Daniel Brooks stood apart, his voice low. "Ashes are sometimes all that remain when silence burns too long." Victoria Price approached slowly, her tone chilling. "Do not mistake chaos for justice, for chaos only feeds the cycle." Anna pressed Samuel's photograph against her heart, whispering, "His memory is not chaos, it is the truth none of you could bury." The dawn light touched her face, as if Samuel lingered in the warmth of a new day. Inside the empty courtroom, Anna Carter whispered to the silence, "Samuel Carter deserved more than shadows and silence." Michael Lewis leaned on the bench, his tone steady. "You gave him what the system refused to give." Lily Evans traced her finger across the wood, muttering, "He should have been here to say it himself." Daniel Brooks closed his eyes, his voice breaking. "I silenced him because I thought it would save us, but it destroyed everything instead." Victoria Price's words cut through the emptiness. "Truth is a weapon, and weapons do not choose their victims." Anna's voice grew strong again. "Then let his truth be the weapon that ends this cycle." The room seemed to shift with the echo of Samuel's memory, as if he were finally free from the walls that once caged his voice. The group gathered in Anna Carter's apartment, silence pressing as heavily as the storm had hours before. Anna said quietly, "Samuel Carter's truth is ours to carry now." Michael Lewis responded, "It will define us if we honor it with honesty." Lily Evans leaned against the wall, her tone subdued. "I thought rage could protect him, but only truth could." Daniel Brooks sat heavily, voice low. "My silence has chained me, but maybe your truth can free me." Victoria Price placed her gloves on the table, speaking coldly, "Justice will twist again, with or without you." Anna's eyes sharpened, her tone defiant. "Then let it twist, but never away from his name again." A breeze brushed through the window as though Samuel lingered with them, no longer a ghost of silence, but a breath of presence. Later, In the quiet cemetery, Anna Carter placed Samuel Carter's photograph against his headstone, whispering, "You are no longer silenced." Michael Lewis stood beside her, voice soft. "Your voice lives in hers now." Lily Evans dropped her sketchbook at the grave, her tone breaking. "I drew you from memory, but I wish you had stayed." Daniel Brooks hung back, voice shaking. "Your truth shattered me, but it was the only way to free us." Victoria Price stood tall, speaking sharply. "Graves are not for truth. They are for endings." Anna pressed her palm against the cold stone, saying, "Then let this be the ending of silence, not of justice." The wind lifted leaves across the grass, as though Samuel answered with the whisper of freedom he was denied in life. As they walked from the cemetery, the world seemed quiet but heavy. Anna Carter whispered, "His silence has ended. But the fight has not." Michael Lewis said firmly, "Justice may never be perfect, but truth carries its own strength." Lily Evans looked down, her tone soft. "I will remember Samuel Carter not as a ghost, but as a voice." Daniel Brooks kept his gaze on the ground, murmuring, "I will live with the weight of silence forever." Victoria Price's voice echoed behind them, sharp and final. "Truth will bend again, and you will see it break." Anna turned toward the morning sun, her words strong. "Then let it bend, but never break his name." The faint presence of Samuel glimmered in the sunlight, leaving them with the memory of a truth too painful to bury again. The night returned heavy and silent, as Anna Carter sat in Samuel Carter's empty bedroom. She whispered, "This space holds his breath, though he is gone." Michael Lewis stood in the doorway, saying gently, "Rooms remember those we cannot forget." Lily Evans traced her hand across the desk, muttering, "Every mark is a piece of him they tried to erase." Daniel Brooks remained near the window, his voice hollow. "We erased him ourselves when we chose silence." Victoria Price entered with measured steps, her voice cold. "Memory is malleable. It bends to those who survive." Anna clutched Samuel's old notebook, her voice trembling. "Not his memory, not anymore." The air thickened as though Samuel's presence wrapped around them, haunting the room with unfinished words. The group moved into the living room, silence pressing down like a verdict. Anna Carter whispered, "Samuel Carter's absence is louder than his voice ever was." Michael Lewis lowered himself into a chair, murmuring, "That is how truth lingers when it has been stolen." Lily Evans pressed her palms against her eyes, saying bitterly, "I keep hearing him in every silence." Daniel Brooks spoke flatly, "Perhaps silence is his legacy, one we gave him unwillingly." Victoria Price's eyes glimmered coldly, as she said, "Legacies are not chosen, they are crafted by those who remain." Anna lifted her head sharply, her words filled with steel. "Then I will craft his legacy with truth, not silence." The walls seemed to hum faintly, as though Samuel's presence answered her defiance. The rain returned, streaking across the windows as Anna Carter stood tall, whispering, "He is not gone, not when we carry him." Michael Lewis rose, saying firmly, "You are his voice now, and justice lives through you." Lily Evans clenched her fists, voice shaking, "I will not let them forget Samuel Carter." Daniel Brooks lowered his head, his voice strained, "I already carry him in my guilt, heavier than any chain." Victoria Price smirked faintly, her words sharp, "Guilt is useless if truth is already drowned." Anna's eyes burned as she shouted, "Then let his truth drown me if it must, but it will not vanish." Thunder rumbled as Samuel's ghostly glow flickered brighter, filling the room with both grief and strength. The storm roared outside as Anna Carter confronted Victoria Price directly, her voice strong. "You twisted everything to keep control." Victoria Price replied coldly, "Control is survival, chaos is destruction." Michael Lewis' voice cut through, "No control is worth lives stolen and voices silenced." Lily Evans shouted, "You fed on silence, but Samuel Carter's truth is louder than your lies." Daniel Brooks' tone cracked, "We all fed the silence and it destroyed him." Anna's hand trembled as she pressed Samuel's notebook to her chest, whispering, "His truth belongs to no one but him." Thunder cracked, and Samuel's ghost shimmered brightly, as though refusing to be silenced again. The storm ended in silence, leaving the group standing in stillness. Anna Carter whispered, "The truth has torn us apart, yet it binds us to him." Michael Lewis said steadily, "Justice is never pure, but memory can still carry strength." Lily Evans' voice softened, "He will never fade from us, even if the world forgets." Daniel Brooks murmured, "His truth will haunt me, and perhaps that is justice enough." Victoria Price's cold voice lingered, "Justice bends, truth breaks, and all that remains is power." Anna raised Samuel Carter's photograph, her words haunting, "Then let his broken truth live forever in us." The ghost of Samuel shimmered one last time, fading slowly, leaving them with silence more powerful than words.